Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel, and in this video we will study about, this video is a continuation of the previous video in which we studied about functions, and we saw that functions make your code much more modularized and much more easier to understand and debug. Now in this video we will try to understand what is function declaration or function prototype and how do we make call to functions. Okay, let us move on to let us first of all see what I have written over here. For example, if I just go over here, so if you just see the third point, function prototype. A function prototype in C++ is a declaration that omits a function body but does specify the name, return type and argument list. So let us try to do one thing. Suppose I want to create a function that will find the sum of two integers. So if it finds the sum of two integers, then it will have the return type as what? It will have the return type of int. Suppose the name of the function is sum and it will take two arguments. Suppose integer a and suppose what? Integer b. And it finds the sum of a and b. So I will say return what? Return a plus b. So I think this much is very clear. This is just a function, and what is the return type of the function? Integer. What is the name of the function? Sum. And what is the arguments? There are two arguments. One is a and the other argument is what? B. And what are the data types of the argument? Both are of type int. Okay, this much is understandable. Now let me call this function. So I will say sum, suppose 2 comma 3, and I'll just print out what is the sum of these two numbers. So I will say okay, so I'll just put a semicolon over here and just save the changes. And now if I go and run this application, clean and build, and now if you go and actually run this application, so it is printing when it is getting the sum of a and b. See, it is printing 5. Alright, so this is good, but now what? Let me do one thing. I'll just remove it from here and I just put it over here. Okay, so now let us try to run this application. See, previously I was putting this sum method, this function, at the top of the program, but now I have inserted it below the main method. Will it give any changes? Will it result in some kind of changes? Let us try to run this application, clean and build. Yeah, it is giving a compile time error, and sum was not declared in the scope. Why this error is coming? Can you tell me why this error is coming? See, when the compiler is coming to this line of code, it does not find any kind of declaration that is associated with the sum function. Why? Because sum function is declared and defined below, from the point where it is called. See over here. So now there is something called as function prototype. So you have to tell, for example, if you have a variable and before giving the variable some value, you declare that variable. Similarly, there is a function, and before you call that function, you can also provide a prototype of that function. So prototype will not contain function body. It is just a kind of declaration that just tells the compiler that such and such type of function exists. So here I can have the function prototype. So I can write sum, and then there is a function sum, and it is taking two what? It is taking just two integer arguments, and now I just put a semicolon. So I have not mentioned the body. I have just given the return type, the name of the function, and what, and then I have given just the argument list. Alright, so this is what is called as a function prototype or declaration. See, I have not associated any body with the function prototype. So now if I actually go and run this application, okay, and run. See, now it is gonna run fine, and it is giving me, the sum of 2 and 3, that is equal to 5. Alright, so this is clear. And now, so this is what you call as function prototype. Okay, so you can verify this third point. Function prototype in C++ is a declaration that omits a function body but does specify the name, return type and argument list. So this is what we have seen over here. And now let us try to understand about formal and actual arguments. So here if you see, I am passing 2 and 3. And this function is getting called. Which function is getting called? The sum function is getting called. So A is taking the value 2 and B is taking which value? B is taking the value 3, and eventually it is returning what? A plus B, that is equal to 2 plus 3, or it is returning 5. So in this case, these two numbers 2 and 3, they are the actual arguments. Okay, they are the actual arguments, and these numbers which I have declared inside the function body, they are what? They are formal arguments. So I'll just take the pen and I'll just specify that here. If you go, these two. So for example, I can do one thing more. Let us try to suppose integer a equal to 2 and integer b equal to 3, and let us write let us write a and b over here. All right, so now if you just observe, this a and this b, these are what? These are the actual arguments. These are actual arguments, and this a and this b, these are what? These are formal arguments. Okay. All right, and so over here, when you are giving the actual arguments, you do not need to write what? Integer a or integer b. Why? Because you have already told that these a is an integer and b is also what? B is also an integer. And not to get confused, it is not like that. Suppose this variable is having the name a and this variable is also having the name a. So it does not means that they are the same variable. It does not means like that. It means that this main function has a different scope. This main function has a different scope, and this sum function also has a different scope. For example, this is the scope of the main function, and this is the scope of the sum function. So what is happening is that there is one variable, that is a variable, and it is equal to 2, and there is one more variable, that is b, and that is equal to 3. And what is happening when you are passing these arguments, when you're passing these arguments to some function, then what is happening? A copy of these functions is being made. So here also a new variable a is being created, that is having the value 3, and here also a local variable b is created, so this is having the value 2, and this is having value what? This is having value 3. So these this a and this a are not the same. They are having different scopes and they are different variables. So this a exists in the scope of the sum function, and this is what you typically call as call by value. Okay, so we will in some of our videos also I'll just explain you what is call by reference. Okay, so thank you so much for watching my videos, and please do keep on liking, subscribing all my videos. Thank you so much.